What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, thanks for coming back, sis. Okay, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into it. So as you can read by the title, this is like a update where I've been. So that's kind of what this video is going to be about, as well as other things that I want to discuss as well with you guys and be like open and just talk to you guys. So of course I have my notes here. I have questions on my phone that I'm going to go through. First question is, what has been going on? My biggest reason as to like where I've been, why I haven't been posting like I normally post, is because life happened, you know. Y'all know I moved to Dallas it's been almost a year. It will be a year in June. So this is April, so we're almost to our year mark of being in Texas. It's crazy how like how I like made my first video about like me moving and things like that, and just super excited, super pumped. And then once I got here, just situations started like hitting back to back. And I'm just now able to breathe, and it is April. That's how long the struggle was, you know what I mean? Of course, we all know about my car, things like that, but after all of that, once I got through with the car stuff and all that, you know, all this type of stuff. So this is around October. So around October of last year, 2023, I was great financially. Like, God blessed me with a good amount of money to where I didn't even have to work. Like, that's how good, you know what I mean? And so I moved into this apartment where I am now, where I've been since August of last year. I moved to my apartment, and once the money hit or whatever like that, I was like super excited. I was just super like, you know, feeling blessed, and like I'm just, you know, I'm trying to get my apartment stuff together, trying to buy different things, and you know, like just trying to, you know, I'm like, okay, like I got a new start, like, you know, I'm in a great area now. I can really just kind of settle into my apartment and buy this and that and third, and just, I'm just like going crazy. Not necessarily like spending like recklessly, but I was so focused on the money and, you know, doing things for my apartment to where when I didn't even realize that I was putting God on the back burner. And yeah, we just about to jump right into it. I didn't realize I was putting God on the back burner. It wasn't that I was just like forget God, whatever like that. Like, it wasn't any of that. It's just I got so excited, you know, and just started just doing my own thing, and focus on the money and like, you know, furnishing my apartment, all this type of things. And when I looked up, y'all, I had none of that. Mind you, I had over 20K, and I'm being super transparent. I had over 20K, y'all, and when I looked up, I had nothing to my name. And I can't show you any designer bags, designer shoes, all these clothes, and you know, different things like that. No, not at all. I can't show you any of that. But I came from a church where, and even not even just a church, my mom would always teach me about tithing. I am a tithe payer, you know what I mean? I know how to tithe off of just a little amount, like the little amounts that God was giving me back in Louisiana, like I was tithing off of that. But once I came into like a larger sum, like I said in my mind, I'm going to pay my tithes first, right? And before I knew it, I started doing everything else but pay my tithes. And that should be the first thing that you do with any money, you know what I mean? And so I didn't do that. It wasn't that I was like, oh, I ain't paying my tithes, but it was just, I was just so focused and caught up with everything else that I didn't realize I did not pay my tithes. And this is where a hard lesson came in. And it was a struggle for me, y'all, because I was so mad at myself, even going through this lesson, because I knew better, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I wasn't trying to pay it. It's just I got caught up in other things, right? And so this is where I had to get a job. And it was in one of my videos, I was saying you guys that I was working like for this hair company and doing like hair stuff. And That definitely wasn't what I expected. At all. You talking about struggle, like my coworkers have to tell me, just think about, like just at school learning, you know what I mean? Learning about the hair stuff, and true enough, I was learning, the coloring process and different things like that. But it was, y'all, it was such a huge struggle. Like, I didn't even have to work, but I had to get a job because, of course, I had rent to pay, and it's a whole different type of thing there. I'm gonna try to not make this video too long. But yeah, I started having to work, and that was a struggle because I hated that job. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I hated it to the core. But at the time, this is all I had. And another reason why it was such a struggle for me too, because at that point I had to put school on pause because I was paying out of pocket for school. And I was at the end, y'all. I was at the end. Like, I was supposed to graduate at the end of February, beginning of March. I had to put school on pause, y'all, and I was at the very end. And that's what really, like, just almost put me into like a depression state, in a way, because I was just so angry and mad at myself because I did it to myself. It wasn't. And I remember telling you guys in my last video about my teaching video about how God was just saying, just don't be afraid to step out on faith. And literally, y'all, like, I kid you not, like, I was going to be straight. Like I told you, like, the money that God gave me, like over 20K, like, I was good, y'all. And I didn't have to work. I was straight. I was set. Like, I could have, got my business back up that I wanted to, revamp and all this type of stuff. Like, y'all, I wasn't thinking at all, y'all. And so I was gonna be good, you know what I mean? But I messed it up by not paying my tithes. And so I had to stop school, put that on pause to start working. And another struggle was I was trying to do school part-time and try to work full-time, but it was, in order to make a little bit of decent money, I had to be full-time. And so it was a struggle trying to go back and forth from work to do part-time school. And by the time I got there, because the other student, she's part-time, so they're not there all day. And I was the full-time student, so I was with her from 9 to 5. And so now that it was just them two, they would come to school early and, get off early. And by the time I come, it will be, basically over with. I won't have time to get into the books and things like that. And that would just really make me super sad, y'all, because, man, like, I wanted to be in school, you know what I mean? Like, this was my whole point even coming here. And so, y'all, one day, so I got hired on this job in January. Y'all, why one day I came to work, it was, I remember telling you guys I was sick, right? I was super sick. I had the flu, and I took out work because I was sick. And then the next day, I still wasn't feeling well, so I didn't come in at all. So the next day I went in, something was just so off, like, just super off. And my jaw still wasn't feeling good, but I just pushed my way. And so I went to work. It was still kind of off. I'm not really sure what was going on with one of the managers. I don't know. It was just off, and I was so frustrated, and I was just ready to go. And so one of the managers had put me to the side and was like, "Hey, you didn't call in or let us know anything, whatever like that, and it was asking why I did it." And I was just like, I don't have no answer. Like, I just wasn't feeling good. And so she was like, "Oh, okay." She was kind of like, I could tell she was like annoyed with it, whatever, but whatever. I went back in. She was giving me all these type of things to do, like, these all these type of things. And I questioned, why I was even doing it to one of the other managers. I guess he just got all mad and Next thing I know, he comes back and asks me to get my stuff. We walking out, sitting down, and they end up firing me, girl. And I was like, oh, what's your reasoning? It was like, oh no, we just feel like you're not a good fit. Like, mind you, I wasn't really tripping because what I'm about to get into next, God had already planted my feet somewhere else, and I was going to quit the job. But they ended up letting me go before I even quit the job. So I really wasn't tripping. Although this was like random out the blue, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't tripping. Like, I wasn't crying, tripping, like, you know, all the type of stuff. I was not tripping at all. So I really was ready to go, child, because it was ghetto. Super ghetto. Super ghetto. And I was just, girl, if I showed y'all the work environment and all this type of stuff, girl, yeah, it was horrible. People always would tell me all the time, like, you think you want to go back to teaching? Do you want to go back to teaching? You should go back to teaching. And I just kept saying, no, I don't want to go back. Even y'all knew, like, I left Louisiana. I left teaching in Louisiana. I was not trying to teach in Texas at all, honey. And yes, the money is good, y'all. I ain't lying. Like, I'm not lying. I was just like, Before I got fired, y'all know I tell you that, you know, I had to get a job because of the fact that, you know, I messed up the money situation. So this, by me doing that, it put me in a bind with rent. I didn't put money up for rent or anything, y'all. And this is where another hard lesson came in. And one of the things I've learned even on this journey is God will put you in different situations to show you another side of who he is. For example, you may know God as a healer, but you may go into a situation and now you know God as a provider. Or you may know God as a provider, now you put in a situation where you know God is a way maker, ways out no ways. And so this is the situation another situation I came into, a lesson that I've seen the mercy of God. Like, people always say God is merciful, and we would say these things, like we'll say, yeah, God is merciful, God is a provider, he is this, he is that, but we really don't really know because we really never have been put in a situation to really know. We just go off of what people say. It's one thing for you to hear somebody say it, but it's nothing for you actually to experience the hand of God. And so because I messed up my money from a situation to where I was unable to pay my rent, y'all. And mind you, God gave me favor with the apartment manager. She was like, you know, when can you pay it? And you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't have an answer because I didn't have a job at the time. It got to a point where now we're going to court. Now I got an eviction. Like, y'all, girl went to court, y'all. And this is where I was just so mad at God, because I'm like, well, God, you're able to give me favor with the judge. You're able to, you know, bring me out and things like that. And he didn't bring me out the way that I thought he was going to bring me out. I didn't know, y'all. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I didn't know a thing. Because I mess up with the money, so I'm trying to figure out where it's going to come from. So I ended up finding like assistance people, whatever, did the application for that. The lady was saying that they can pay back, but they can't pay forward. So for example, because I needed January and February, she said that they couldn't do February, they could only do January on back, like December, November, all that. And so I'm like, okay. So she was like, well, we'll cover January, but we can't cover February. Okay, cool. Got it. Now, their process is different. So my apartment people wasn't trying to wait on them to give them the check. So this is how I ended up going to court. So after court or whatever, I ended up running to the same people that I had did the application with online. And so I was telling the lady that, yeah, I filled the application, but she was saying she couldn't pay, January and February for me. And it looked at the date and it was like, she could have paid that. Like, the time that she put it in, like, she could have paid January and February, which could have stopped me from going to court in the first place. And I was just like, oh. And I just started crying. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was already embarrassed because I've never, like, wasn't able to pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, never, ever, ever. Like, and then going to court, girl, I've never been to court in my life, honey. But again, a lesson. I'm learning a lesson in all of this, right? And so, trying to figure out where my February rent is going to come from, because now I have, they give you a couple days after your date, your court date, to get the money, and if not, of course they go on with the eviction thing. So I'm trying to figure out where this gonna come from, and I'm just going through it. But you know, like this is where I was saying, like, I've mad at God, because I'm like, God, you could have given me favor, you could have did all this or whatever. And one day I sat down, had a revelation, and I realized that God has been in this situation, because the lady could have put me out. Like, when I tell you, like, she was going around to different apartments. Other people had 3 days to get out their apartment, but I had way longer. Like, God had showed me grace, because I could have had just 3 days to get out, but the days just spread it out. Like, I had weeks left after, you know what I'm saying, before we even went to court in the first place. So that's the first sign of God's grace, because everybody else that she was giving papers to only had 3 days. I had way longer. You see what I'm saying? And so that's when I first seen the grace of God. So that's how I, you know, come to see that God is a merciful God. He's a gracious God. He showed me mercy, even though I put myself in the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put myself in the situation. I'm the one that messed up the money. I didn't even have to go through all this. You know what I'm saying? But again, listen, learn. And so one day my mom called and she was like, your granny been asking how much your rent is. Because one thing about my granny, y'all, my granny get you what you need. She don't really be caring about what you want a lot of times. Like, she want to, like, is this what you need? Like, you know, she don't make sure you have what you need first. So, and like, and a lot of times my granny has to think on things. Like, if you say, Granny, I need this amount of money, she's like, I'm gonna have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she don't really just jump right then, because, you know, my granny is real, you know. And so my mom was like, your granny been asking how much the rent is, how much it is, when she needed. Like, my mama said my granny even think about, like, she didn't have to think about, you know, it giving it to me. Like, she literally, like, y'all, couple days before, maybe like 1 or 2 days before, like, the time was up, my granny had sent the money, like, for my rent, and I was able to pay February. Mind you, I didn't even know where the money was coming from at all. But God touched my granny's heart, and my granny didn't even hesitate. She sent it right then. You know what's crazy? Like, even though, like, I was able to pay my rent, like, in my mind, I still felt bound. I still felt like I was in a situation. And one day I was on the phone with my mom, and, you know, and she said, she was just like, you know, this is over with now, you out of it now. And it's just, for example, just take somebody that has been locked up for many years, and one day out the blue, you come and tell them that they're free. You get them the keys, you know what I'm saying, you open the door and tell them you're free. They are stuck, you know what I'm saying, because you know what I'm saying, they've been behind this for so many years, and so they can't even process being free. And that's how I was. I feel like I was in this situation for so long that I didn't realize that God brought me out of it. You know what I'm saying? To where my mom had to literally tell me, and my mom didn't even know that her words were freeing me. Like, she didn't even know her words were freeing me. All she said was, you know, you're out of this. And y'all, those words freed me. But I didn't tell her until way after the fact, like, because I was just so bound. That's how bound I felt. That's how, you know, like, low I felt, to the point where I didn't realize that God had already, you know, brought me out of the storm. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was really crazy, y'all. And this storm taught me that God is a merciful God. Like, I would say it, but I never really experienced the mercies of God. But in this situation, y'all, I was shown the mercies of God and the favor of God, y'all. Listen, I've learned to always, no matter, you know what I'm saying, whether you have $2 or $200, $200 or $2,000, $2,000 or $20,000, pull your tithes out first. Give God his first. Give God his first. And then the rest is, you know, what you eat off of, what you take from. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, I've been a tithe payer, but it's just in that moment, I don't know what happened. And I just, you know what I'm saying? But lesson learned, God brought me out. And here I am. Next one is, because I'm just talking. What are you doing now? So going into that question, your girl is back in teaching. Now I got a teaching position while I was still working at my at that job doing the hair stuff. Like that's when I got the position where I was telling you guys that I was going to quit, but they ended up firing me beforehand. God had already planted my feet in teaching while I was still at that job. Now mind you, y'all, I got hired and I didn't even fill out an application. This woman don't even know me from a can of paint, but God knows me, you know what I'm saying? So I was like working at this job, like teaching kept coming on my mind, like, and at the time, like I knew that teaching would keep me straight financially. Like I knew I wouldn't have to worry about the money when it comes to teaching. But in my mind, just like, I don't want to go back to teaching, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just kind of fighting, but teaching just kept coming on my mind, kept coming in my spirit, just kept teaching. And the people around me would talk about teaching and ask me about teaching, and I'm just, it's how I used to be, like, I don't want to go back, you know, but it just kept coming on my mind. And so one day I was at work, I text my old co-workers I used to work with. They're like my big sisters, like they're much older than me, but they, you know, we locked in. I text the group chat my girls, and I was just like, yeah, I'm thinking about going back into teaching. And one of them was like, girl, we got a position open in our school right now. My principal looking to hire somebody, whatever like that. And so just out the blue, she was like, it's crazy because we got a position open now and we looking for somebody now. And this is like at the end, this was in February, yeah. So February, this is around February this year, around the time where we was talking about this. And so she had sent me her information. She had told her, she's like, I'm put up word in for you that you're looking to, you know, get a position. Well, I tell you, this was the smoothest process I ever had. I gave you favor with this, that I didn't have to fill out any application. I had the interview, and during the interview, we was talking and things like that, you know, and she looked at me and she said, I didn't feel this position because I've been looking for the right person to get this position too. And she says, you are the right person. And mind you, this woman don't know me from a can of paint at all, y'all. And she was like, I gotta have you at this school. I gotta have you at this school, like, you're perfect. Like, I gotta have you. And I ended up getting a position right then and there. I didn't have to fill out an application. Of course, after, go back and fill out the application because they needed my information in the system, you know what I'm saying, to get me hooked up with different things. Working with the HR, like, everybody was just so nice. Like, even my mom was like, God is really working on you, because she know that I would never say I'm going back into teaching. like to make an executive decision to put school on pause to actually go to teach, like there ain't nothing but God. Cause baby, girl, if it's up to me, I wouldn't even be back in teaching. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I ended up getting a position as a 3rd grade ELA teacher. So how I was teaching. So this is probably like just in my 3rd or 4th week teaching. Well, here's the thing, y'all. I love the school, right? I really love the school. Super laid back. To me, I feel like they're super too laid back, you know, because I'm used to coming from a school where you gotta really walk that line, like you gotta stay on it, you know. But they're super relaxed, you know what I'm saying, and it's such a free environment. Then the only issues that I have with the district or with like the school that I'm at is the fact that they don't deal with discipline. They don't know how to deal with discipline. I'm not used to admin not dealing with discipline, but that's a big issue. Now, because I came in late, later in the year, in March. So March is when I started. So I started at the end of March. Yeah, so March the 14th is when I started school. I came into a classroom where they had a teacher that did not have classroom management skills, did not have structure in the classroom. Like the kids did whatever they wanted to do since August. Didn't teach them a thing since August. So I'm coming to a classroom where now I have to implement structure. And that has been a challenge because they've been used to doing what they want to do since day one. You know what I mean? So I've been having to break them up with different habits that they're used to doing. And that has been a struggle on top of you guys not dealing with discipline. Also, where do I put these kids? You know, where do I put them? Now, it'll be a different story if I started with this class and y'all still like this. Then it'll be on me. But I didn't start with these group of kids. So I'm new. They're trying to get used to me. I'm trying to get used to them. So it's like a little battle. But luckily, I don't have that much longer with that group, and I can start over fresh with a brand new group next year. So I am excited about that. And how long I'm going to stay in teaching, I have no idea. Clearly, my life is not my own, because I came down here for one thing. God, like, girl, you going back into teaching? What? Come on. Like, girl, you don't come on here. But you know what's crazy? Like, this time I had peace about going into teaching. Like, I had this excitement on the inside of me and this readiness to go back into teaching. And I knew that wasn't nothing but God, because, you know what I'm saying, like, I ain't with the teaching. Although those kids I have will always remind me of why I even left in the first place. But I'm definitely gonna, try another year out with a brand new set of students and see how it goes. And of course, I don't want to stay in the classroom. If I have the opportunity to go up as far as like in administration, because you have to have at least 5 years to move out the classroom and go up in as far as like admin and different positions. And this will be my 6th year, so I mean, I'm qualified to go up. So I'm going to try another year out in the classroom to see at this particular school, see how it goes. But definitely, if I have an opportunity to step out the classroom and do something else, I would definitely take the opportunity for sure. Because the classroom is still not something where I want to be. If I have to be in teaching or have to be in, in the education field, I definitely want to be outside the classroom for sure, hands down. Now I know you're wondering, well, Key, you had to pause school. Are you going back to school? How are you going to finish? Things like that. So because I told you before I got into the situation, I was at the end, I'm going to finish school in the summertime, because I'm not doing summer school. I'm going to finish in the summertime, and because I don't have that much left. I only have like 100-something hours left, and that's it. Of course, to do my practical, take my test, so I can literally finish that in the summertime and be done, and prepare to, and take the test and get my license. So it just all just comes back full circle and just works out. God took me through, and he brought me out every single time, you know what I'm saying? And I'm forever grateful for that. Was it hard lessons to learn? Yes. But did it teach me and make me into who I am now and becoming? Absolutely. The last one is what's to come. So what's next? So like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be teaching. We're going to see however the Lord leads. One thing I always say, for God is, provision is also. Since I've been here in Texas for almost a year, it's been nothing but a faith walk. This has taught me to walk by faith, literally depending on God. Like, God literally put me in a situation to where I had no choice but to depend on him. Like, y'all, it was so bad to where I didn't even know like how I'm just gonna, like get things I need. There has never been lack in my house. That's what I'm trying to say. Like there has never been lack in my house. Like, yes, I've gone through the struggle, but God has never let me go without. I always had everything I need. Like, and one day I was at church. This was Easter Sunday. I remember her telling me to mark this day. I remember it. I was in praise and worship Easter Sunday. I didn't go home for Easter, but I went to church Easter Sunday, and I was in praise and worship. And a lady, I've never seen her a day in my life, she came up behind me, and she started speaking the word of God, telling me what God was saying. And one of the things, the things she was saying, like, I knew God was, speaking through her concerning those things. And one of the things she had said, because I leaned down because I was like weeping, I was crying because I knew God was speaking to her, to speak to me. And I leaned down and she put her hand on my back and she just kept saying, the favor of God is on your life. The favor, she said, I don't know who you are, God, but she was like, I don't know who you are, but the favor of God is on your life. And she just kept saying it over and over. And true enough, y'all, the favor of God is on my life. Like, how in the world am I able to move from a different state, you know what I'm saying, by myself on my own? And, like, God, man, y'all, like, the favor of God is truly on my life. I thank God for the favor because, like I said, I've never gone without. Yes, I've gone through the struggle. Yes, I've struggled. Yes, I've gone through different things, but I've always came out of it. God always brought me out of it. God has always shown his favor and his grace towards me. Like, half this stuff I can't even make up. Like, I can't even make up, you know what I'm saying? From the time my car got stolen, and I ended up literally driving every car on that lot. I didn't pay a dime for every car I drove on that lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even when I had to start paying, like, I had the money to pay for it. I remember a lady telling me that her car got stolen and she, couldn't even get to work. She had to live to go to work. And here I am, my car got stolen too, and I'm able to get a different car, you know what I'm saying, having money for that. You know what I'm saying? Even with the apartment stuff, I moved literally 3 times and had money every single time to pay, pay for this, to pay for that, or had for months free, you know what I'm saying, without even paying for rent. Over here, I didn't have to pay for rent. I moved in August. I ain't pay for rent until October. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, even going into that job, I didn't even fill out an application for that job. I just got in. I didn't do no interview. Even with the teaching, I went into teaching. I didn't even fill out an application. Like, y'all, like, God has been making a way. My journey has been nothing but God. And another thing that the lady told me, that, like I said, I don't know who she is and she don't know me. Another thing she told me, she said, ones that are watching you, she said they're gonna be able to look at you and say, well, nobody but God that did that. Like, you don't come into a season of it was nobody but God. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna stay where God has me, until he says it's time to move, Of course, like I told you, I'm gonna go finish school in the summertime. This is April, so I only have 1 more month left, and I'll be done with teaching until September. Of course, I'm going to go to hair school, finish hair school in the summertime, get my license. I'm gonna, of course, get my business back up. That's in the works. And I know, like, even though I hated that job that I was at, it taught me a lot in the area where I want to be, as far as like making the wigs and coloring and doing different things, and what to do and what not to do when running a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've learned so much to where I can apply it into my business. You know what I mean? Just letting God continue to lead, y'all. Just letting God continue to lead me and guide me and direct me. Because one thing you don't want to do is get out of the will of God. And do your own thing. Keep God first in every area of your life. You may go through a struggle in a season of, like me, through seasons with S, seasons of one thing out of another. In those times of me going through, God called me to minister. back in my hometown. That was when I was in a place of, you're gonna have to literally get me up out this bed to go minister, because I was like deep, like I was in depression, like almost. And I had to talk about faith, all while my faith is being tested. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I'm a firm believer that God will make a way. God is a merciful God. He is a provider. He will make a way out of no way. This day, y'all, I'm excited to get back to exploring Texas. Exploring different areas. That's nothing we're going to get into. Exploring a different area of Texas. I'm excited about that. Stay tuned to my vlogs, because I'm definitely going to be continuing to vlog my journey. And we're almost at a year of being in Texas, y'all. I don't make this video any longer than it is. Comment down below your story, your testimony. Overcome by our testimonies. You know what I mean? Like, your testimony is your testimony. Even if you don't have a word, your testimony alone is a word. Keep your testimony with you. Don't stop telling people about your testimony, whether it's old or not. It's a part of you. You know what I mean? I have a close friend. He's one of my closest friends I've known for years. And I had texted him and told him one day that, you know, I had got a position teaching and things like that. This was maybe a week or two after I had got hired, and he put this sad, like, crying face, and he said, I literally just almost cried, LOL. And I said, oh wow, why? You know, he said, because when I woke up this morning, it was heavy in my spirit regarding you returning to the classroom. He said, I'm glad you are, because I used to always want to tell you that God may be drawing you back to the classroom, so I would just pray. And so it was crazy to me that was in his spirit about me returning to the classroom. And here I am telling him that I am back in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God, you know, that he was praying on my behalf. You know what I'm saying? Like, praying for me, that God direct me and give me this stability that I needed. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed stability. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, since I've been here, like, I just feel like, you know, I was never stable. Like, I always try to be stable, you know what I mean? And I was never stable, you know what I mean? And trying to make a apartment my home, and never was able to do that because I had to move, and it's one thing out of another, you know. So I thank God that he was interceding on my behalf. You know, I think it's so important to have people around you that can see you spiritually, around you that can hear God, can reach God. You know what I'm saying? That can intercede for you in a way when you can't even intercede for yourselves. You know what I mean? Because that was another thing that was hard too. I felt like I didn't have people or friends around me that could pray with me or pray for me. I literally had cried when he had told me, y'all, because, like, man, God, like, you're putting me and other people's spirit. Even before, like, that Easter Sunday when I had went to church, like, my closet was a mess, y'all, and I've been trying to get my closet together. And I sat down on the floor and I was just like, man, like, my life feels like my closet. It's like all over the place. Like, I don't know where anything is. And then this Sunday, God had sent the word to, you know, to me through that woman that I don't know, that showed me that I'm on God's mind. It's a great feeling to know that you are, you know, that you're on God's mind. You know, every time, like, you know, God sends a word to you personally, like, it shows that God is thinking about you here and he cares about you. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know, I thank God for that, because I was used to, you know, being in a smaller church back home, you know, where the pastor knew you and, you know, knew you personally and could, you know, like, pray for you, speak to you, and tell you the word of God. But now I'm, you know, here in a bigger state, and, you know, the church is super big. When it's, you know, in a bigger church, you know, it's not as personal versus when you're in a smaller church, it is. And so, you know, just like, man, God is faithful and he hears me. You know what I mean? Even when you think that God is not listening, he is. He always sends a sign and sends somebody to show you that you're on his mind. You know, so you know, now I'm up. I'm up and feeling like, you know, like he can continue to conquer the world and, you know, take over Texas, like I said in my other sit-down video, you know, because, you know, I wasn't expecting to move and go through all that I went through, but I'm here on the other side, testifying and showing you and telling you that God will come through every single time if you let him, you know. Any questions you have, comment down below, you know. So the sun is going down, honey. I guess it's like, girl, it's time to go. But yeah, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned because